I'd like to formally apologize because my last podcast, Pump Bear, did with Ty Anderson. We raised the point of, is Matt Poitras hitting a wall? And he said, screw you, man. Because, again, as has been the case throughout, I think, his limited time here, even during the preseason where every time the Bruins have handed him a tough test or there's been some adversity, he kind of takes it on the chin and responds and delivers. And I think he had a really quiet game against San Jose, built his game a lot more against the Kings, didn't have any points, but was making plays, looking like the guy we've seen pretty much since the start of the preseason, and then breaks through with a 2-goal game. And just impressive all around. He also had that great setup to, I think it was Kevin Shattenkirk in the second period. Like, he just looks like a guy that belongs, right? And it's one thing where you look at the 9-game sample size, and you can debate whether or not he's already earned that spot, which I kind of think he has. Like, he's got his signature game now. Like, all these guys mentioned, like Lucic, when he had his 9-game sample size, he points to that Gordillo hat trick he had in Game 4 against the Kings as being like, all right, this was my moment. Don Sweeney even mentioned, like, Pastrnak, that 2-goal game against the Flyers when he was 18. That was the moment. They were like, all right, this guy's stamped out a spot. You can view that as the same through the same lens with someone like Poitras. And it's not just the fact that I think he should be rewarded for answering the call and continuing to adjust and fight through the challenges we all expected he would face in the NHL level, but I think it comes down to the fact that when you look at this team, they're better when he's out there. Like, one, he's impacting the game positively. He's generating high danger chances. He's creating passes in grade A ice. Like, he's doing those things that is impacting a team that is still trying to find its cohesion at 5-on-5 play. But also, again, I don't think the forward lines are set in stone, but if you have a spot where Poitras can take over and a guy like Coyle is still with Frederick and Van Riemsdyk, again, the pieces start falling more into place. Like, even if you could make the argument that a Marchand, Zacha, Pastrnak line is a little too top-heavy, it becomes a lot more feasible if Poitras playing well with Geekie and DeBrusk driving play. We know what Coyle can do next to Frederick. Like, pieces start falling to play and you start having some cohesion there if that's the lines you want to roll with. And it's not like Poitras been a passenger. Like, he's impacting the game night in and night out, especially with a guy like Geekie, which is good to see. I think Geekie's had a really strong start to the year. I think they played off each other very well. So, I mean, that has to be the biggest takeaway, right? This was the biggest question mark going into the year. This was the most consequential thing about whether Poitras could impact the game and fill out a spot down the middle. I think so far he's answered that, especially that game against Anaheim, which was huge for him and huge for the Bruins, I think.
I was going to say, I mean, they were supposed to lose that game last night.
Yes.
They were not playing great.
They were. It was not a good game, especially the first two periods.
No, it wasn't. And the details weren't there. And you can make a case that the whole trip, there were a lot of details missing throughout, a little bit messy at times, throughout those 3 games. And, again, that first goal goes to the right spot, right? Geekie, I think it was Geekie who found him in front of the net, just finds a little soft spot, gets a stick out there, puts it in, and then the second goal is, again, being in a good spot, being the screen on that play. And I just think he plays with such confidence. You look at, the way he handles the puck along the half walls, just his edge work, getting away from guys and stuff. It's impressive. And, I'm with you. I think we've both been on the same page kind of his entire time. Before and after we came around to wanting him up for the 9 games, is that, he belongs here. He belongs here. And I think, again, that Anaheim game, I mentioned it, like, details are missing. Second night of a back-to-back out in the West Coast. It's the last game of being out in California before you head to Chicago. And it's the kid who comes through for you. Like, I think that says a lot. And I know that, yes, quiet game against San Jose and, 3 points in 5 games. I think some people were expecting him to, light the world on fire in these 9 games. I think you got to temper the expectations a bit. But, if he can continue on this kind of pace of consistently impacting the game in little ways, and then every now and again, getting an assist, getting a goal, finishing the year with, I think we've said around 40 to 50 points, like somewhere in that range, you're cooking. You are cooking, and that's a great thing. So, again, getting ahead of myself a little bit with the point totals, but I just think he looks good. And it's all, as I said, it's the details too. It's the little things. And he gives you a lot of options. I continue to go back to that. And you hit it. Like, if you can now have Van Riemsdyk, Coyle, Frederick, I also was looking at that. Have you looked at that new NHL.com, the new NHL Edge thing?
I'm on it right now.
Yeah. Because I saw your face light up, and I said he's searching the interwebs for something. I think all of Poitras' shots. You can correct me if I'm wrong, because I was looking through a lot of different players. I was, like a kid in a candy store today, just like, oh, all these different players.
Flashes, like
it is like, oh, the patterns are so complicated. The advanced stats are so complicated. I believe most of Poitras' shots are from right in front of the net.
I think it's 5 of 8 are like in the direct low slot. I think it's like, I think 5 of his 8 shots are high danger looks. So.
Yes, which is solid. And again, I know a lot of people want him to shoot more. It was funny actually on that power play with like a minute left on Sunday night. He was just gunning to get that hat trick. Like there was a point he came off the half wall. There were guys open to pass to. Nope, I'm taking this shot. And obviously Gibson made the stop.
The CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose.
One other thing on that NHL Edge thing that I thought was interesting is most of the Bruins shots are from high danger areas.
Yeah.
They don't have many around the perimeter, and I think that's a really good freaking thing. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of building off of, I think, what we saw a lot of last year with Jim Montgomery, where the emphasis is quality over quantity. Again, you could probably make the argument that they could probably get a little bit more offensive generation from their defensemen in terms of more shots up high, but they're not settling for things that are going to get blocked or anything like that. Like, they're being really selective with their shots. And when you have, obviously, a 60-goal scorer like Pastrnak leading the way, that helps out. That can help you kind of skewer those stats a little bit. But this is a team that's built in a way where, again, scoring is not going to be nearly as easy for them as it was last year. You got a lot of bigger guys that do most of their damage down low. Makes sense. You want to be more selective, extend ozone time, cycle the puck, and generate chances that way. So, again, you got kind of two different ideologies. I mean, Vegas more or less, one with the Cassidy approach, right, of just shot volume, like Carolina does that. You do a lot. There's different ways you can value that, but so far it's worked out in terms of the Bruins generating better looks down low. And again, you keep up that formula. It's not rocket science. You keep on firing pucks in a low slot. It's going to help your chances of scoring some goals. So I think it's especially with a guy like Poitras, that's really encouraging to see. That's something that I think is kind of ingrained in younger players. You either have it or you don't in terms of that willingness to operate down in that area of the ice. And he's shown it so far. I mean, that's what we've mentioned before is like, that's why, again, he kind of reminds you a little bit of like someone like Braden Point. Like, again, not saying he's going to be the same player. He's not going to be racking up 85 points, but not a big guy, but is, fearless in terms of getting into that area of the ice, making plays with that limited time of space. And he has the skill set to do that. And you've seen that so far from Poitras of just being in the right spot, making the right reads, and generally the chances will be there for you if you operate in that part of the ice.
I think my favorite part of the Poitras discourse is, someone will say like a comparison, but, say, hey, it kind of reminds me of, and there's like 25 people with pitchforks and flames running at them like, no, shut up, no, don't say that. So I think that might be my favorite part of the
we'll clip discourse. That. We'll clip that. Matthew Poitras is the next Braden Point. Just clip it now.
Point. I'm saying he's the next Patrice Bergeron. I'll freaking say it. I'll freaking say it. But yeah, I mean, I think impressive end, and I also think it's one of those things. Jerry Seinfeld used to talk a lot about how when a comedian does a set, sometimes you hit that 50-minute mark, an hour mark, and you say, wow, that's really good. That's strong. And then the comedian goes a little bit longer, and you go, oh, it's a little too long. And it's the ending that people remember most. And yes, I said it, the San Jose game was not Poitras' best. The Kings game, he built on that a little bit, was a little bit better. Anaheim connects. And I think that's what people are going to remember. And I'm glad for his sake that it was that final game of the Western Conference, or the Western road trip. Now you got to go back to Chicago.